I forgot that I had a haircut scheduled this morning. And you don't want to cancel on Marcos because he has like a 4-month wait list. The guy's an artiste. Anyway, so I didn't want to cancel that. He's a huge James Bond fan, and I invited him to come over and watch Bond movies with me at the church. But as I said, massive wait for him. He doesn't like, he can't cancel on people. A little bit bummed out about that. The Netflix algorithm stuff was getting weird. It had started looping back in on itself to movies I'd already watched, so I don't know how things are going to go from here. I did change shirts and freshened up a little bit. I changed from my long sleeve black to my short sleeve black. That's right, I really only have 2 shirts. That's not true. Actually, I have multiple long sleeve black shirts and multiple short sleeve black shirts. But it's unseasonably warm out there, and so I figured, why not go with the short sleeve? And that other shirt was starting to smell, metaphorically, like Timothy Dalton's Bond. All that to say, it stunk, metaphorically. And so anyway, it's in the wash now. I'm feeling better. I've kind of rejuvenated. Decided to come back with A View to a Kill, because I figure I have some stuff to get done. But I figure that's good background. That's a good background Bond movie, right? But here's the thing, I didn't get anything done because I watched the whole thing and I really enjoyed it. And A View to a Kill is one of the weird ones for me, because sometimes I watch it and I'm like, I love this movie. And other times I watch it like, this is one of like the worst, if not the worst one. It's the one that most goes up and down for me. But I don't know. So maybe it comes down to the mood I'm in. I have the guy over at the Bond Experience YouTube page. Check him out if you haven't. He has a saying about Bond movies. He says they're like sex and pizza. Even when they're bad, they're still really good. And I agree. A View to a Kill it's good. Like I don't, it's not great. There's some weird stuff in this movie. But overall, I think it's one of those movies where the parts are just weird, but somehow when you add them together, you have an pretty good movie. I had a couple friends in college, I overheard them talking once, and they said, "Oh, Christopher Walken would be such a great Bond villain." And then one of them said, "I think he was." And they said, "No, how was he?" And I had to look it up. And I was like, "No, yeah." And man, that guy just chews every scene he did. He is all the way Christopher Walken in this movie, but there's not a movie with him where he is not all the way himself. And he is like a wonderful Bond villain in this. Psychotic USSR kind of science experiment guy. I love that they drip that through the plot. A lot of the like early James Bond movies, like the Sean Connery ones, even some of the Roger Moore, they'll just info dump in like a 1-minute end office scene. Man with Golden Gun is probably the most famous example of Scaramanga. And then you forget it as the movie goes on. But they did a good job kind of slowly revealing Christoph Waltz's past here, which is really good. The rest of the movie is a Goldfinger, remake, update maybe, and pretty explicit. I was shocked this time through, pretty explicit in some of its scenes. I think when Bond sends Tippett out in a car to run an errand for him, very similar to that scene in Goldfinger when Bond sent a CIA agent out to do a thing for him, and that agent ended up dead. This time in a car wash, they ended up crunching the car in Goldfinger. Very similar. They even say, like, Christopher Walken even says he has a meeting with all of his investors, very much like Goldfinger did, end up killing one of them, just like Goldfinger did. And he says in that meeting that silicon's the new gold, and he's not wrong. That's something I love about James Bond, is kind of the cultural and relevance. I love that these movies work those things in, and I love that about this movie. The first hour is really good. Ian Fleming, James Bond on a Mission stuff, which you guys know by now. I love that, and I just love going back to my Tomorrow Never Dies review. I love that Christopher Walken kind of blows this whole thing. Like, he would have succeeded had he not been dumb enough to cheat at horse racing. And I absolutely love that General Gogol shows up and says it out loud. I love Gogol, one of the best James Bond characters. And I love that scene with Gogol where he just shows up and is like, you just blew this whole thing because you were cheating at horse racing, and what were you thinking? And he's right. Like Tomorrow Never Dies. Like, Elliot Carver blows the whole thing by killing the British sailors and then posting the picture of them on the front page of his news thing. If he wouldn't have done that, he would have gotten away with everything. But it just does show you that even the real life villains are dumb. We look at that and we think, oh, they're not that dumb. dumb. But no, like we've learned in the 21st century, 2026, they really are that dumb. Like evil billionaires, like they really do make really stupid mistakes. And so I love that part of this character of Zorkin. And, the one part of this movie that is kind of rough is the Bond girl. She's half Roger Moore's age, but that doesn't bother me as much as her smoking voice does. The hey James, right? Like it just squeaks, her voice squeaks, and that's it's just, she is annoying. I would rank her near the bottom of kind of Bond girls. I think how she gets pulled into this plot is good. Like that part of it's kind of okay. But overall, she kind of does bring the movie kind of down in many ways. And the second half is not as good as the first. Mayday, her kind of turn is actually more believable than Pussy Galore's turn was in Goldfinger. I think that works a lot better for me. So I don't know. This is an okay movie, everybody. If you haven't watched it, I would recommend watching it like on a Saturday. It's a good Saturday afternoon Bond. There's a good plot there. Some of the editing kind of makes it feel like a made-for-TV 80s movie, so there's that as well. But yeah, I think it. I wish Octopussy would have been Roger Moore's last one, but this one is actually okay. I think it's pretty good. So all that to say, on to the next.